tragedy. Police have now arrested 2 teenagers in connection with James Jordan's murder, which they say was a random act of violence and not, as some have theorized, connected with illegal gambling or an extortion plot. We want to get a better picture of this relationship between father and superstar son. So joining us from Chicago is Jay Mariotti, sports columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times, who has interviewed Michael and James Jordan. Jay, good to have you with us.
Hi, Joan. How are you?
I'm fine. I understand that back when Michael played for the University of North Carolina, he would go home a lot on weekends to be with family. We've heard so much about the fact that there was a close relationship here. Can you tell us a little bit more about father and son?
Well, it's hard, Joan, being Michael Jordan. It's sometimes a very lonely life, and he surrounded himself with a very small entourage, and I'm sure he still will. And his father was the major part of that entourage. He was everywhere with Michael on the road during games. He was part of the Chicago Bulls scene. I wonder how Michael was going to cope with the loss not only of his father, but of his best friend, The Rock, he could always lean on.
Yeah, as I understand it, when he would find out that his parents were going to come to a game, he wouldn't want to start the game until they were both there in the room. How did his dad influence him as a person and also as a player?
Well, his mother was sort of his competitive force. You could see both his father and his mother in him. His father was sort of his sense of humor, his personality. Sometimes when you talk to James Jordan, you almost felt like you were talking to Michael because they were both so eloquent. Michael was very thoughtful, and so was James, especially when Michael was in trouble, such as during the playoffs this year, and James came rushing to his rescue. And it was very impressive how a father stuck up for his son in regard to this gambling controversy. Well,
you've written, though, that up until now, that Michael really hasn't taken it too seriously. There's a little flip about the whole thing. Do you think that this whole incident, just because of all the manifestations of over the last few weeks, that he might take it a little more seriously?
Well, I can't speak for Michael, Joan, but I do wonder how the NBA will react with this tragedy. It could be perceived as insensitive by many if it continues to investigate the gambling story, yet it does have its integrity to protect, so I would think the league would have to proceed in some sort of way. I'll be curious to see how David Stern reacts to it.
And, of course, everyone wonders how it's going to affect Michael, his personality and his game, and how he's going to be able to come back with, will he come back strong, or will it,
I think Michael Jordan, knowing him, knowing the pride he has for his family, the love he had for his father, I do think after a time of mourning, and he may take time off to some degree, but he will come back, I believe, stronger than ever. I think if you know Michael at all, he's always seeking a challenge, and I think this would be his ultimate challenge, to come back, play in the memory of his father. I think you could see a Michael Jordan on the basketball court greater than ever, and I hope he chooses to do that, because I don't think his fans and the public want to see him leave on such a tragic note.
No, they want to see him there for some time to come, and I hope he knows that they're all behind him. Jay, thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
And Good Morning America continues here on ABC.
Cliff here at IHOP, and I'm here to clear up some confusion about IHOP's delicious T-bone steak breakfast and their mouthwash.
Their hands may just start to move ever so subtly, and what we try to do is find those ever so subtle movements and try and protect the baby a little bit.
Now, when a newborn or preemie is stressed, it can actually impact on their body chemistry, their immune system, their heart. So there really are some good reasons to think that maybe keeping these sick newborns stress and pain-free might also improve their chances of recovery.
What is the risk, though, of using drugs like morphine on such small little humans?
Well, it's interesting. The thing we traditionally worry about is the blood pressure might drop. They might have even more breathing problems. It turns out with these kids, you can put them on fairly high doses of this stuff, and they do okay. It's usually the parents that are more concerned than the docs.
I can imagine. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Torman. Harry?
It is 17 minutes until the hour. Still to come on CBS this morning, Robert Downey Jr. on acting, Heart and Souls, and Charlie Chaplin. And a little bit later on, the music of the Canadian Brass.
After the hour. Well, leave it to the worlds of business and culture to come up with a literary and lucrative solution to one of life's annoyances: how to make better use of your time when, as Shakespeare wrote in Macbeth, it creeps in this petty place, and Shakespeare never gets stuck in a traffic jam. As our Joel Siegel shows us, the result is Faulkner for the freeway, Shakespeare for the superhighway.
Southbound one-lane central, 3 o'clock today. Inbound one-lane will shut beginning at 10 o'clock this morning.
On an LA freeway during rush hour, the average speed is less than 20 miles per hour, and it's always rush hour. In Midtown Manhattan, horse and buggies traveled faster 100 years ago than 140 horsepower taxis travel today. And in between, 3,000 miles of parking lot. So what do? Oh, there's music. You can listen or audition for the band. You can phone ahead and complain about the traffic, and it all looks so much worse on a bad hair day. Or you could listen to a good book.
See that girl over there? The beauty in the green and yellow dress.
Terrence O'Reilly is an attorney who spends 2 hours a day in his Hyundai listening.
I just don't get the chance to read many books because of my schedule. This was something that was like tailor-made for me. It makes the commute almost enjoyable.
This is one of New York's newest bookstores. 3,000 titles and nothing to read. 24 stores around the country carry nothing but audiobooks. Even on tape, though, 36 of them, the Bible remains a bestseller.
People are spending a great deal of time traveling, commuting into the cities by either bus or by train or by car, and they need something a little bit more to do than just listen to music or listen to some of the talk shows.
Issued simultaneously with their hardcover editions, Is There Any Danger tapes will replace books.
People who enjoy reading, and they're going to continue to read, but there's a lot of hours in the day where it's just impossible for them to read, and audiobooks give them the opportunity to get information and get entertainment through their ears.
And entertainment it is.
Directly behind Don Corrado sat Angelo Partana, his oldest friend and the family's counselor.
That's Paul Sorvino reading Prizzi's Honor, a perfect choice. Audiobooks are read by Hollywood stars, Broadway actors, often the authors themselves. Jurassic Park takes 3 hours to hear. That's longer than the movie. Bonfire of the Vanities takes 12 hours, but it's better than the movie. And Katharine Hepburn reads her own autobiography, Me, and that's better than anything.
Now I'm going to tell you about Spencer. You may think you've waited a long time, but let's face it, so did I.
The voice on the tape can make or break the story. If a person's voice is irritating to you and you don't enjoy listening to it, you won't respond to the tape.
Recorded books have long been used by the visually impaired. Novels, textbooks, even magazines are available through the Library of Congress. Alex Shavitz is listening to The Firm at New York's Lighthouse for the Blind, where volunteers will record special requests. There are 50,000 titles of audiobooks available commercially, and it's more than commuters and joggers who do the listening. Barton Plage captains a ferry boat in New York Harbor. He's learning Spanish. His fiancée is Cuban. He wants to understand his in-laws. Truck stops rent tapes. Pick them up at one stop, drop them off at the next. The average price for a best-selling novel, under $20, or you can rent for $1 a day if you're a fast listener. And in a bare handful of years, audiobooks have become a billion-dollar-a-year industry. Listen to any good books lately?
I hope that more stores do open up and the people follow us. I just hope they don't open up across the street.
And audiobooks sure come in handy. My wife is known to appear late, arrive late for business meetings and family occasions because she drives around and around waiting for the chapter to end or the book to end. It's 48 and a half minutes after the hour. Next, what's a near-death experience like? The first-person account when Good Morning America continues.
I realize that.
Souls. He plays a guy on the fast track whose life gets derailed by 4 souls that move into his body. Before Paula went on vacation, she talked to Robert Downey Jr. about the new comedy.
Soon you'll be crying, count of all your lying. Yeah, just look who's laughing now.
I'm gonna walk like a man, I think this film deals with something that's pretty real, you know? I mean, without being preachy about it, I think everyone has guardian angels, you know? I don't mean that in kind of like in a sarcastic way. I think it's pretty real. More people do than don't believe in reincarnation in this planet.
Do you think it'll be hard for people who don't buy into that to buy into this movie?
No, I don't think so. Because this film isn't trying to sell an ideology. It's meant to entertain. And just kind of, you know, at very least, it's entertaining, you know, and at most, it's a very emotional film. You know, I think it's the best film I've ever been a part of.
Best film you've ever been a part of? Better than Chaplin?
I think it works more as a film.
Really, why?
Well, because Chaplin, I think, was done the best it could have been done, considering that it was practically an impossible film to try to make.
Cut it. No, wait, hold it. Keep it going. Big reaction.
To try to put, you know, 70 or 80 years into 2.5 hours, 2.25 hours. Whereas I think this film is, you know, it was just very well executed and very well thought through.
Oh, I mean, God, you know, this happened 33 years ago. Does it even matter now?
Thomas, I gotta set it right. Okay? You don't get it?
Just get in and get over with.
Where's that little kid I had so much fun with, huh?
Well, the remarkable thing about your performance is how you assume the mannerisms and the voices of these souls who've decided to park themselves in your body. Now, you obviously are a natural mimic, but does that stuff come easily to you?
It does. That's why I'm an actor. Well, I'm also being paid to do it, you know, so you kind of have to do it. And you're reading the script, all right, I'll do that. Jumps on the table and starts flopping around like a fish. Okay, I'll do that, you know. And then the day you come shoot it, you just have to do it. And if you have any degree of self-confidence, you can pretty much do anything.
Oh, you're making it sound so easy. Come on, it can't be that easy. Why not just can't do that? Looking back to Oscar time, when you were nominated for your portrayal of Charlie Chaplin, did you feel like you really had something to prove with that performance? You had a major studio walk away from the production completely shortly before it was the shoot was supposed to start. For some reason, people had their doubts that Robert Downey Jr. was the right guy for that role.
They had their doubts. I think it was kind of a crucible for me, you know, and I made it through. It wasn't even so much to prove anything to anyone else. It was just somehow I had this connection with Chaplin, and I wound up, part of my life was about playing him in this film. I just know that I was supposed to do it. You know, it was required of me from headquarters, so I did it. It's a responsibility to be an actor, and just such a powerful medium that you really should be aware of what kind of messages you project, you know?
Yeah, you've talked before about phoning it in previous performances. No more?
Not lately. No. I'm just enjoying it more and more all the time. You know, I like it. I like it.
In the next couple of weeks, Downey will be releasing The Last Party, a documentary about the 1992 political campaign. He's also finished a new Oliver Stone movie. 5 until the hour. We'll be right back.
You know, I'm used to running my own club.
It changed your whole way of looking at life? What do you say to people who say, oh, come on, this couldn't happen, you dreamed it or whatever?
Well, I know that I didn't dream it. I know that what I experienced is true and real. And of course, there's no way that I can convince or prove to anyone that I had this experience.
We should just point out, I mean, that you went home and had experienced this and only told just a limited number of people.
At first.
And finally, years later, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later, you went back to the doctor just to say to him, this is what happened to me. Can you explain this at all?
Right.
And it was only then that he told you, yes, that you had actually been clinically dead.
Right. And this was in 1973. You see, they did not really know. They didn't know about near-death experiences. And but it was later that they began to recognize that this was something that some people were having, that they needed more research. They needed to understand that.
First-time author, independent press, and yet, I don't know, 400,000 or 500,000 copies, just all word of mouth?
Yeah.
That this has been happening? Well, it's an incredible detail with which you describe it all. Again, the name of the book is called Embraced by the Light. Betty Eady, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
And Good Morning America continues after this.
And are your kids ready to go back to school? We'll help you find out.
And America's favorite household tipster joins us, Eloise.
So stay with us.
Phone calls made from Jordan's car phone enabled police to find a record of who the suspects had contacted.
All in all, it's still sad, but I'm very much relieved.
The mystery was solved in time for a family memorial service at the church where James Jordan worshipped. And the cremated remains of the man Michael Jordan, often called his hero, were laid to rest. A famous and fortunate family now grieving like any other. As James Jordan had ended a visit with old family friend Azella Kemp just hours before police believe he was killed, she expressed ordinary concerns.
Yes, and I said, well, be careful. And he said, I will.
What happened to Mr. Jordan was the kind of random violence that all the public are concerned and afraid of.
At the time of the crime, one of these men was already under indictment for an assault, and the other, in the kind of tragic irony, Ari, that often infuriates people about our justice system, is on parole, having served less than 2 years of a 6-year sentence for assault with a deadly weapon and intent to kill.
Reed Galen in North Carolina this morning. Thank you. Thousands of young Catholic pilgrims are leaving Denver this morning, flocking home to points across the globe. Pope John Paul II concluded his visit last night by meeting with Vice President Al Gore. Before departing for Rome, the pontiff condemned abortion and euthanasia as he had during the entire 4-day trip. Earlier, the Pope celebrated Mass with a crowd numbering in the hundreds of thousands. For some, it was a physically demanding experience. Officials say 20,000 people sought medical help over the weekend, most suffering from dehydration in the 98-degree heat. One man died of a heart attack and one woman gave birth at the Mass site. Leaders of Bosnia's warring factions are due to meet in Geneva today to try to revive stalled peace talks. Barry Peterson is standing by in Sarajevo with more. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, Harry. Well, it's as quiet as it's been here in a long time. No shelling and really not much sniper fire. People in this city, more intently than anywhere else in the world, are now watching the talks in Geneva to see if this peace can last. More than at any other time, the politicians meeting in Geneva seem to have a chance to make some sort of deal. The Bosnians tell us they are under very heavy pressure from the mediators to make any agreement, good or bad, that stops the fighting. In Britain and Sweden, the war is already over for a group of children and adults flown out of Sarajevo for medical treatment. They suddenly find themselves in hospitals with plenty of medicine, where the electricity always works, and most important, where they can truly hope they now have a real chance to get well. And there's more good news on that front. The Italians now saying they'll take some of the wounded. But that sort of good news is always tinged with a bit of bad news, because you think of the roughly 300,000 people left behind, still facing the snipers and the tanks and the artillery that's out there on all of those hills. Harry?
Barry Peterson live in Sarajevo this morning. Thank you. It is just about 6 minutes past the hour, and Mark McEwen has our weather this morning.
It's all over the place, plus a movie and album in the works. The MTV characters have become animated superstars, and Rolling Stone magazine has gone so far as to call them the voice of a new generation. But not everyone finds them or their act in particularly good taste, as you will soon see.
No, dude. Light it first. No, light it first, then spray. Yeah, light it first, then spray.
That was cool. Okay, class. Could I have your attention, please? Okay, class. Today we're going to explore the world of haiku.
We're going to explore the world of getting high? Cool.
No, butthead.
And this is a mild episode. Joining us from Detroit is Terry Recolta, president of Americans for Responsible Television. And here in New York, Rolling Stone magazine contributing writer Charles Young. Good morning to you both. Charles, let me start with you. Is this a children's program? We have these teenage cartoon characters spraying stuff in their faces, burning things, torturing animals. Is this for kids?
Well, it's a little heavy for small children, but I think you have to look at the history of the last 50 years of children looking at the Three Stooges and Bugs Bunny blowing each other up with dynamite and hitting each other over the head with baseball bats. And I think what they've done is, you know, given a lot of, well, millions of kids a lot of laughter and joy, and, you know, in the face of difficult schoolwork and things.
Now, you met with the creators, the creator of these two characters. He has a physics major, which is somewhat surprising. And basically, you're a fan. Does he know about all this flack, and what does he say?
Well, Mike is kind of a laid-back character. I mean, a year ago he was playing bass in a blues band in Texas, and now he's got the hottest thing in teen culture in the United States. I mean, Beavis and Butthead draw 4 times the normal rating on on MTV and the merchandise is flying out of the malls. I mean, he's going to be rich, and he deserves to be. I mean, he's the sort of the Mark Twain of modern teenage dysfunction.
Now, we're having some technical difficulties with Terry Recolta in Detroit, so we'll just continue. But I think the Americans for Responsible Television are saying this is corrupting our youth. They're, promoting sexist comments by these young teenagers, racist comments. They're, as I said, torturing animals, doing all these horrible things. I mean, is this corrupting our youth, or is this the voice of our next generation?
Well, if they were nice kids, they wouldn't be funny. And, obeying the rules is not good material for laughs. MTV makes very clear in their disclaimer in front, and often during the show they run disclaimers, just pointing out that Beavis and Butthead are indeed very stupid and disgusting people, and people shouldn't do what they do. But they are, in doing stupid things, they're very funny, and kids and every adult who's in touch with a 14-year-old and his soul finds them funny.
So do you believe that this is the male psyche in each of these characters, that we all know a Beavis and Butthead?
The male psyche...
At that age.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think everybody knew a Beavis and Butthead, and some of us were Beavis and Butthead when we were 14. And they're sort of haplessly vicious, and they do cruel things to animals, and nobody's in favor of that. But every male that I've ever talked to about Beavis and Butthead has a story about at least somebody that they knew, and sometimes they themselves, some horrible thing that they did to an animal when they were little. I mean, it seems to, be some part of the male psyche, as you said.
Yeah, but detractors would say we shouldn't be encouraging our youth to emulate this kind of stuff. I mean, do you think it's just plain fun, or do you think we're encouraging our kids to be like really derelicts?
There's a basic distinction to be made here between endorsing behavior and satirizing behavior. Beavis and Butthead is a satire. It's comedy. It's not an endorsement of cruel and stupid behavior.
All right. Thank you very much, Charles Young. We're going to be back with Terry Recolta in Detroit to hear her side of the Beavis and Butthead brouhaha. We'll see you in a minute.
Owning your own home.
The Beavis and Butthead controversy continues. We have fixed our technical problems. We can now join Terry Recolta in Detroit, president of Americans for Responsible Television. Sorry about those problems. Terry, what do you find so objectionable about these cartoon derelicts?
Well, we have received numerous complaints, our organization, about Beavis and Butthead. And what's really disconcerting is that MTV is a cultural icon for children. It's their electronic neighborhood. It's their people that they really look up to. And to see Beavis and Butthead do really dangerous things that children can imitate is really not in the parents' best interest or the child's best interest. What we're seeing Beavis and Butthead do is explode animals, torch them. They sniff paint thinner.
Yeah, they say school sucks in their terminology and talk about all these anatomical parts of each other. Now, MTV didn't want to be interviewed for this segment, but they did say that their research shows that 9 out of 10 people watching are over 12 years old. Does that make a difference to you?
Well, I don't really think that's true because they run it every night at 7 o'clock. And approximately half the children in this country are watching television at this point in time. And they're running it for middle school students, and of course the younger brother and sister are there to watch it with them. It's very dangerous behavior what they're showing. They show one segment is when Beavis has an aerosol can and Butthead is holding a match. And the first time they show it, the match isn't lit. And he said, no, I can't even tell you what he calls him, I don't think so. But he says, no, you have to light the lighter. And then they show the aerosol can and the lighter exploding.
Right, we saw that segment.
Right, these are things that children can imitate. Well, it's very dangerous. 80% of the children in this country come home nowadays with... Pardon me?
Go ahead. Charles just wanted to cut in just for a second, Terry, and offer a rebuttal, I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Terry.
Go ahead.
I think the consequences of lighting a lighter around an aerosol can are quite clear from that segment. You're going to burn your face off. And I mean, any kid who tries that, it's hard to believe that a kid would try that. I mean, for 50 years we've been watching the Three Stooges hit each other over the head with baseball bats, and I don't think there's been an epidemic of that out there.
Except, Charles, Beavis is still alive after that, and his face looks great in the next scene.
No, it doesn't. His face is completely charred, and his eyebrows are burned off.
No, but in the frame after that, beyond that. he's okay again.
Well, that's
I mean,
sort
what
of
about
standard in
taking a-
cartoons, isn't it? I mean, Bugs Bunny's been throwing dynamite down Yosemite Sam's throat for 50 years, and
No, but
then the
this-
next
this-
scene they're ready to go at each
Let
other
me jump
again.
in just for a
Charles,
second.
this is
Terry, let me
behavior
ask you a
children-
question. What would you like to see done?
I'd like to see this move to a later time frame. They show it every night at 7 and 11 o'clock. To keep it in the adult time frame. This is raunchy adult humor. The language they use, using chainsaws on animals, killing them, saying, put firecrackers up the rectum.
Well, I think if you get rid of Beavis and Butthead at 7, I think you ought to get rid of the national news at 6:30. I mean, the other night I was looking at an 8-year-old girl whose stomach had been ripped open by shrapnel. That's got to be pretty upsetting for a 7-year-old, and it's got to be a lot more upsetting than Beavis and Butthead telling fart jokes.
There's no one on the sideline saying, that's cool, that's cool. I like fire. I want fire. And this is what they say.
Terry, you have 3 children, is that right?
Yes.
You've canceled MTV. You don't want them watching Beavis and Butthead.
Well, I think that it's sort of the dirty little secret of the industry that when I walked into the room, all of a sudden my kids were quiet, they weren't saying anything, and I noticed it was a cartoon. And I looked at the cartoon, and they're calling each other, you know, ASS wife and Butthead, and they were also masturbating. So I thought, what kind of cartoon is this? And then when I found out it was MTV, that was sort of the final straw.
I think Charles, in his Rolling Stone magazine, had pointed out that these are kids who talk about this kind of stuff anyway. They laugh about it anyway. It's part of pop culture. Do you find it, offensive that it's being put on the screen?
14-year-olds are going to discover their genitals whether they watch Beavis and Butthead or not. I mean, it just comes with growing up.
I think what's offensive is they're mainstreaming it.
And I don't see what the problem is with the language. I mean,
Terry,
I don't.
the 7 o'clock time slot, should that be changed?
Well, I defy Terry or anybody else to find any evidence anywhere in the history of psychology that hearing a word like ASS wipe is going to, has ever caused damage to anybody at any age.
Beyond that, it's dangerous behavior they're showing to kids. 80% of the kids are home today without a parent after school. They're showing them how to use aerosol cans and light fires. They're showing them how to sniff paint thinner.
Well, I think Beavis and Butthead are very accurate
newspaper.
character studies in that sense. I mean, we have an entire generation of latchkey children out there, and they do live in a world pretty much without parental support. And I think they're accurate as they're true to their generation.
I don't think that is true to the generation. It's showing a generation deviant behavior. They can kill themselves with it. They can have permanent brain damage. What is the responsibility of adults in this country?
What?
And what's more heinous than that is not even people doing this for money. I mean, that's obviously what it's for, because the ratings are top for Beavis and Butthead. But it's your advertiser, your people that sell our kids candy every day and skin creams that are endorsing this message and paying for it. It's bringing it into our living rooms.
Terry, are you worried that your kids are going to emulate this behavior? Is that what you're worried about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm worried that they'll take an aerosol can and light a fire.
Do your kids understand that Beavis and Butthead are really, really stupid?
No, they don't understand that. That's what's unfortunate. I think it's really stupid
Well, maybe
to run
you
it
should
at
send
7
them to
o'clock.
remedial English class or something so they can...
This is where we break it up. Thank you both for joining us and letting us know the issues of Beavis and Butthead. Gary?
All right. 23 minutes after the hour. Are your kids ready to go back to school? Maybe they are now. And we'll get a couple of helpful household hints for singles. And she is here to help all of us this morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome.
Nylon net.
Nylon, I knew it was something like that. How's everybody in San Antonio?
It's hot, it's dry, but it's still there.
There you go. All right. Assume for a moment that I have a clogged drain.
Yes.
Heloise, help me out here.
Okay, if it's severely clogged, obviously you need to call a plumber.
Okay.
But this is a home-style remedy. You do this once a month.
Right.
It keeps your drains free-flowing.
That's right.
It's very inexpensive.
Right.
It's safe to have around.
Mm-hmm.
What it is about, we're going to pretend this is a drain.
All right.
A half a cup to a third a cup of baking soda.
Baking soda, gotcha.
Baking soda here.
Right.
And all you do is use household vinegar.
Ooh, there you go. And cheap, too, huh?
And cheap.
So that really goes in there and...
It bubbles all up.
Yeah.
You let it sit for about a minute. Then you flush with about, let the water run for about a good minute or two.
Right.
Because you want to flush it all the way through the pipes.
Sure.
If you do this preventive about once a month, even when you replace the baking soda out of your fridge, just dump it down the drain.
Dump it down the drain and a little vinegar. It's just regular old vinegar, right?
Regular old vinegar.
Really cheap. And the other thing is, because drains can get kind of Right.
It's what we call bad breath in the garbage disposal. Yes, this will help prevent that.
All right.
Okay?
What is all this stuff here?
All this stuff is, you know how when you buy sour cream,
Mhm.
cottage cheese, yogurt, and you open it and go, yuck!
Yeah.
The hint is, be sure the lid is on tight.
Sure.
If you store it in the fridge,
Uh-huh.
upside down,
Yeah.
all right, it causes a seal down here, and it will keep it fresher longer. Helps you save on your food dollars. I know, it's the simplest thing in the world.
That is
But the
amazing.
hint is to be sure the lid is on tight.
Lid is on tight. Can you go beyond the date, though, on the bottom? Because this is, say, January 13th.
My attitude is if it smells okay and it looks all right and it tastes all right, I'll probably eat it.
Okay.
All right, now.
All right, ring around the collar.
Yes, since my book is for singles,
Mhm.
and most men who are single have to do their own laundry, they may send their shirts to the
Mhm.
cleaner.
Right.
Ring around the collar.
Yes.
What Grandma used to do is take a piece of chalk
Get out.
and you rub it into the
Uh-huh.
line. And what it does is, all right, it causes the oil
All right.
from your body
To
to
separate
absorb
out.
into that,
Right.
and then when you wash it, it comes out.
Get out.
Or you take cheap hair shampoo, el cheapo, 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 cheapo.
Cheap as you can
Dilute
get.
it
Mhm.
half and half.
Right.
Keep this in the laundry,
Uh-huh.
and then you just put a squirt along there like that.
I am
All right.
amazed.
And what
I'm
it does is hair shampoo
All
does
right.
what? Dissolves.
And comes
Fabulous.
out. All right, we're going to give us two
Ring
real
it.
quick tips on...
Five quick ones.
Right.
First,
Two.
collar first. Two. Okay, collar first.
Right. Here's the
Go
thing.
please.
Here's my question. Because a lot of times you spray this stuff on,
Yes.
right? And then it all
Spray it
comes
on.
off all crusty and cruddy and everything.
Spray it on, let it sit a minute, run
Yeah.
your hand over it to press it in.
Right.
Then when you iron it, it
Right.
doesn't get all gunky on the
Okay.
on the shirt.
All
Now,
right.
here's the favorite.
Finally,
Socks.
this is the big important
Yes.
one.
You put in 6 pair of socks, how many do you get out?
Well, less.
5.5,
Right.
okay?
Right.
The simplest thing in the world is to safety pin them together. They go into the washer, into the dryer, and they
Right.
come out as a pair.
Even though you put a black
Black
one
and a
in
blue
the-
one together. That's the other hint. Buy all
One
black,
color socks.
all blue at one time.
Helpful household hints for singles.
Survival 101 basics.
Thank you so much. 23 minutes until the hour. Giselle.
All right, thank you, Harry. Get your kids ready for school, our week-long series to help you start next on CBS This Morning.
Nut Brand cereal.
It is 21 before the hour. All across the country, kids and their parents are getting ready for the first day of school. The current Family Circle has a whole section devoted to the subject, and we'll be looking at the issues all this week. To start, we asked some parents how they decided when their child was ready for school.
She already knew her numbers and all her letters and stuff, and she's already going to be 6 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was ready to go to school at 5. He needed a more structured environment than daycare center.
She seemed like she wanted to go to school. She was ready. Some of her friends were going, and she sort of asked for it.
I think the children need to be with other children. There's a point where mom isn't enough.
James Uphoff is an education expert at Wright State University, and he joins us here this morning. Thank you for coming.
Good morning.
Most parents are told that it's the birth date that determines when their child is ready to go to school. Is that the only factor?
Absolutely not. There are many factors that should be considered. The child's chronological age is just one. It's a clue, but it's just one. Among others would be the child's birth order within the family. We know that the second-born child has difficulty. Birth weight, low birth weight especially. Early illness, ear infections, for example, are a negative factor. Creativity, being left-handed. Our schools have not, unfortunately, been set up for left-handedness or creativity. Family size, the birth order, and then the nature of local school programs. Too often, our schools have not been providing programs for the children. The children have had to meet the needs of the school.
Sensitive subject, though. What does a parent do when they determine their child is not ready to move on, even though their birth date
Right,
is technically
even though the birth date may be right for that school. There have been a number of options, Giselle. Among them, parents have decided just to delay entry by a year, another year of preschool. Some schools have provided a 2-year kindergarten or a transition room as choices for parents, as options. More and more schools are now providing a much better kind of curriculum, and the company Eye on Education is trying to identify these innovations so that others can copy them, if you will, and not have to reinvent the wheel.
And not just make it a cookie-cutter education system
Yes.
where we all just go through at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
What about the child that's already in school but is not ready to move on to the next grade? How do you determine that? We also have a list of factors here.
Yes. Many of these children have academic difficulty, first of all. That's fairly obvious. But then behavior changes, and this means a change from what's normal. It may mean the headaches, the stomach aches in the morning until the school bus goes by. The dawdling, sleeping more or sleeping much less, eating more, eating less. Very reticent, sitting back, not communicating at home as they have used to. It's